with another video with my sister, Michelle Wade.
Right.
Anyway, so we are here to discuss the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yay! Once you know how they came up with the name, it's a lot easier to remember the name. When it's just some random whole bunch of words. What was it that Stark said in the movie? He said, crikey. Crikey, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not a publisher's favorite name for a book, I would think.
No.
Under different circumstances.
Quite
but this name is very
fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it suits the book. But, so... Sorry. You're supposed to put your phone on silent. That's like classic on-set rules.
I really thought
Right,
I
Mike?
did.
Right?
Oh, Philip DeFranco.
Oh, well then that's allowed.
Okay. I'll put it on airplane mode. Just remind me. Sorry, peeps.
You might want to just turn it down because I might forget to remind you.
There we go.
My brain is fried. So I've actually been writing all day for NaNoWriMo. And, well, no, not writing all day. I should have been writing all day. But I kept getting distracted and being like, oh, I'll just have some lunch instead of just a snack. And, you know, it was good, but...
Yeah. You know, it's common, like with, like I'd be studying in school and stuff, you know, I'd have a big exam or I'd have a big paper due or whatever. And then all of a sudden I would realize, oh, there's dust bunnies under my desk.
Yes!
Or, oh, there's a wash that needs to be done. And, maybe I should clean out the fridge. You know, all those things that you never think of other times, but when you have to study or do something, right. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, when I get writer's block, I have my outline to go to. I have my music list, things like that. But when I just get distracted in my head, like my brain is just elsewhere, it's really hard to come back. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Awesome book. I loved it. I wasn't sure if I would, but I loved it.
By Anne Shaffer and Mary Ann Shaffer, sorry, and Annie Barrows, just so you know.
Yeah.
It's good to...
Aunt and niece?
It was an aunt and a niece that wrote it together. And actually the aunt passed away just shortly after it was published.
Oh, class.
So,
But I usually don't go for historical novels. I don't know. I mean, I love history, so I should go for historical novels, but I don't. She mentioned this book to me. She was raving about it, saying how much I'd love it, and it was a good idea for a discussion for a video, and I ended up loving it. Like, I could relate. The main character in the book is an author, but it's not written in the typical way, or in the way a typical book is written. The interaction between the characters is done through letters. And it seems like if a book was described to me like that, I usually wouldn't read it. I don't think. It's funny. Done so well.
Yeah.
Like these authors, these two ladies, managed to capture the characters and make the reader care about the characters, make the characters endearing in letters. Like, it's just, I've never heard of a book being written like that, like a fiction book written like that.
Yeah, I mean, when I started reading this book, I looked at it and I thought, okay, I mean, you know, I read the back. Okay, this sounds interesting, and I was at a yard sale, and it was 25 cents or something.
Wow.
No risk. So I got it, and I started reading, and after I went through a few chapters, right, each chapter is a letter, right? So each time I went through a chapter, I'd go, I'm like, wow, there's so far
there's letters.
just been letters, you know? And then when I reached the end, I was like, yeah, you know what, this has all been letters, but not in an obvious way. Like, you really get to know the characters, you get to, the letters, I think that's kind of a lost art form, if you want to call it that. I mean, letters, you know, writing letters to each other, you know, we do it, and of course, you know, we do a lot of talking and emails. Emails are different, like, at least for me, because I always did emails for work, for school. They had to be very to the point, they had to be professional. That's what it was for me. So I just find, and text, if I can get it down to one letter, I will.
Or none.
Yeah.
There's lots of times she'll just wait till she gets home and then respond. She's told me to just call. Don't text, just call.
But yeah, so, but this was just, it was a very special book. I think it's just like yeah. There's no way to describe it. And you don't feel like you're reading a bunch of letters. You really don't. You feel like you're experiencing, you know, the story.
Yeah, the way they wrote them, it's
why it's done in letters, I guess we should explain. It takes place shortly after the Second World War.
Mm-hmm. I loved it. I thought it was great. And I listened to the audiobook, and it was extremely well cast. I saw some reviews. Some loved it. Some people were saying that the accents weren't any good. I'm not from there, so I can't really give testament to whether or not the accents are done well, but I didn't have a problem with them, and I actually loved every single character.
Well, you know, I read it,
and
the accents were a little off.
I'm gonna have to read the paperback to see if I agree with that.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, it was really good. I enjoyed it. The really interesting thing for me was I loved this book, and I bought extra copies of it whenever I saw them at yard sales. So I would buy extra copies, and then I saw that Netflix had done a Netflix original of this book. And at first I was really excited. And then I got thinking, I was like, oh dear, you know, are they going to, is this book going to be, it's just going to be a totally different thing, because how are they going to take a book that has all these letters, personal letters between people, and make it into a movie? But I have to say, now, it is different. Like, there are characters that are in the book that they don't have in the movie. I mean, you know, they just, some they kind of amalgamated, some they shifted around a bit, some they were totally taken out of it altogether, and the information that you receive from those characters, the information was brought in a different way. That could be
shown in action instead of in dialogue. Basically, with it being letters, the whole book is dialogue, but it's talking about things that have happened. And there's a little tiny bit of voiceover in the movie. Speaking as someone who was trained as a screenwriter, I was really impressed with the way Netflix handled turning this book into a movie. The acting was amazing as well, but I was thinking, how are they going to do this? But they did it so well. You don't want a movie with a whole lot of voiceover.
You know, they used like to film noir kind of stuff.
Yeah, they used to do more. Yeah, and those movies it works for, but these days it's kind of a no-no. Well,
on top of the fact that you want to be dropped in. You want to be dropped into the relationships and what's going on. So, you know, this is the best way. The way they did it was very. You know, you got to know the characters. You know, and most of the characters are very likable.
Yeah.
You know, so
some of them you love to hate. And they changed that other one, the one that was trashing the society all the way. She was like the island gossip and just But they changed her a little bit, how she gets in touch with Juliet. This old fella running the post office, Eben Ramsey. Juliet asks, you know, is there a place where I can stay, because, you know, I can't stay at the inn. And he hollers out this woman's name. Oh yeah, she'll put you up for a little while. And his grandson is the one running the desk and everything, and he looks at Juliet and he's like, so it was just, I was like, oh, so that's going to be her. That's, you know, it is. And sure enough, it was her.
She played her part very well.
She did.
It's a great read, really good book, and it tells you, it gives you some of, if you like history, you know, it gives you some of that background, some of the stuff that happened during the war, both how London had to deal with it and with all the bombings, air raids and stuff, and then how areas that were occupied might have dealt with it. And then, but the one thing, like, I have to say I love about the book and the movie, because the movie stayed true to the book. Like, there was some side what do you call it? Like
Subplots?
subplots. Yeah, thank you. There were some subplots that they just didn't even touch. That was just cut out.
Yeah.
Which is fine. They were great in the book, but I know for a movie you have to be a little bit more specific. You know, you can't be.
You have to be. Yeah, you have to make it more streamlined.
So there was some of those subplots taken out, but you get the book and the movie. It was very much a thing about hope and about resilience, you know. And I know right now we're not in a world war, but a lot of people are feeling without hope. You know, a lot of people are, you know, we're our resilience is being tested. It really is. And it's not just in one area, it's around the world, right?
And
so it's nice to see with this book, it's showing these people, they had gone through different things at different times, and, you know, but the resiliency, the hope, and just clinging to what you believe and clinging to who you are and saying, okay, I can in some ways I can give, but in other ways, no, this is where I stand. This is where the rubber meets the road. I'm not giving here, right?
Giving meaning you're not going to
I'm
change.
not giving, like, yeah, I'm not going to
give in.
I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give up. This is where I have to make my stand, right? And you see that in a few places in this book. And no matter what's going on in your life, that if you can find that hope and that resilience, that you can make it through anything. We all have a shared experience of COVID, like they had a shared experience of the Second World War.
It just affects everybody differently.
But we all have
Different
our
levels, degrees.
So just that communication. We need to keep communication open, and we need to try to be understanding, forgiving, and just know that people they're coming from a different outlook, right? They're coming from a different experience. We need to try to understand what they're going through. If we try to be compassionate and if we try to see things from somebody else's point of view, and we just open ourselves up to other people and relationship, I think we can learn a lot and we can grow.
We just have to be understanding of people and know that we don't necessarily know their reasons behind why they're doing this.
Yeah, there's actually a character in this book, Amelia.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
Yeah, that she seems very harsh. You know, she seems harsh in the beginning, and you're just, like, she can be soft, but then she'll just turn around and she's, this hardness comes out, and you're like, why? You know? Yeah. But I think that's what we need to keep asking is why, and not react when somebody comes at us that way, but try to stand back and say, okay, there could be a reason for this. Yeah. And we do find that in Amelia. There was a lot of hurt in her life. There was a lot of loss. And there was a lot of fear. So it was something that things that she was dealing with, that she was a very private person. She seemed like a nasty person. But she wasn't. And when you get to know her, you get to know why.
Yeah. And you managed to do that a lot faster in the book with the letters. In the movie it takes a bit longer, but it's because they have to show it in action, like show it instead of tell it, basically, as to why she's like that. But thing is, if Juliet had reacted with anger and hate, then Amelia never would have opened up to her, and she never would have known why she was like that. So communication is important, and understanding and compassion. Like, compassion is so huge right now. It's more important than it's been in a long, long time. It's just like, oh man, battery's dying again. It's just like with in a book or in a movie or whatever, where you see multiple points of view told in the story. We don't necessarily get that in real life unless we ask the questions and unless we're open to seeing it and understanding it and listening.
Open to dialogue.
Yeah. But please stand by.
Is that too close?
No, I don't think so. That's usually what I crop it to. Okay, so battery died, but we're back. Camera might have moved a little bit when I was taking the battery out, so if you notice a little stutter of movement, that would be why. Okay. So just saying.
So Amelia,
I keep doing this.
I really liked the actress that played Amelia. I've seen her in other stuff. Shaun of the Dead. Shaun. I love that movie. Well, I've said before I love Simon Pegg, but it's the one zombie movie that I can watch and not totally fall apart and do this.
I think I watched that movie once.
Oh, I've watched it so many times.
I didn't mind it.
Hot Fuzz. Oh my goodness. Anyway, but she was in Shaun of the Dead. She was Shaun's mom, and she was also in Doctor Who. She was. I forget how. She was a member of Parliament in the first couple, and then she was the Prime Minister later and stuff. But
I remember that.
Yeah,
she's the one that he ended up. The doctor ended up. Threatening because she double-crossed him and
she didn't double-cross him, but she, the doctor's all about trying to settle things without violence, and
she did something very human and had her people shoot the ships out of the sky when they were retreating.
Spoilers.
We didn't say what episode. Any episode.
Yeah, so there was that, but I really liked her on this because she had that harshness or that anger flare or the I'm not going to have any part of this type of stuff, but at the same time you could see the vulnerability. You could see it underneath. You could see the fear and the anguish.
She played it very well.
She did a really great job in that movie. I liked how Netflix really kept the essence, the heart of that book in the movie, and they really kept to the characters. Like I love those.
There were a couple that their backstories were changed a little bit to suit the new framing of the story, but adaptations can either do really well or they can bomb. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society did really well. They knocked it out of the hemisphere. Like they just did they did a really, really good job. And the book was amazing. Like
there are some changes in the book. It doesn't fully, like we talked about changes in characters and stuff, but the ending is a little different.
Yes. But they kept the heart of the ending because I was concerned. I really loved the way the book ended. It was an unexpected twist. They still kept the heart of the story, the heart of the ending, even while they made the changes. And I was really impressed with that.
The casting, I think, was done really, really well. Sydney is an important character in it, and
I love Sydney.
He did a really good job in portraying the character.
As an author, I could relate to what Juliet was saying with, there were just certain things in it that I was like, oh yeah, I can feel that. I feel that. But one thing that really hit me, particularly with the movie, and I don't know why it didn't hit me as much with the book, but the publisher for Pride Be Damned was in the UK. Or is in the UK. Michael Terrance Publishing, and Keith.
That's Ellen's book.
My book, Pride Be Damned.
Her first book.
The publishing company with Michael Terrance Publishing, and Keith Abbott is the head of that company, and he and I talked back and forth through email. We talked on the phone. When I was seeing Sidney Stark in the movie, it made me, because I had no idea what Keith looks like, but now I'm just always going to picture him as Sidney Stark. That's just how it is. Keith and Carolina were just amazing.
I'm interested in how this book would look now. If somebody did a book where, but it wouldn't be letters, right?
Emails.
Would it be emails or would it be Zoom?
It'd be emails in the book, and then when they made it into a movie, it would be Zoom.
There we go. They didn't know what to expect in how each other would look. Like, who is this person? She built up this friendship with Dossie, and you hear their voice on the phone, you picture a person, right? When you're reading a letter, just the way they say things or things that they talk about, you start picturing a certain kind of person. And then when they met, they weren't what they pictured. So that was kind of cool too.
Did you go through that? You were reading the letters. Did they look how you pictured when you watched the movie?
That's a good question. Yeah, as I got to know Dossie further, I think in the beginning I don't know, I didn't really have a picture of him in my head, I don't think. I think I probably thought he was older. I think I did. And then you get to know him more through the book, and I think they cast well. You know,
they did.
The dark, you know, strong, silent type.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the guy who played Dossie actually reminded me of a combination of Matt Lanter, I think I'm saying that name right, from Timeless, and Gerard Butler. But I also saw a little bit of Timothy Dalton in him at some points.
Really?
Different angles.
I didn't see Timothy Dalton in him.
No?
No.
Okay. When I was listening to the book, I pictured Isla as older than she was in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I was right and they were wrong. It's just how I pictured her. And I pictured Dossie as older until Juliet met him and was kind of describing him to either Sydney or Sophie in a letter. But one thing that got me was Wilt in the audiobook. That's Eben Ramsey's grandson in the story, and the voice sounded like he was in his late teens, early 20s.
He is Eli?
Yeah, Eli.
Okay.
So he sounded like he was in his late teens, early 20s, and I think later on, even in the book, it said that he was, like, the way Juliet described him, he was younger. But he turned out he was like, what, 11 or 12?
I think he'd be like 13 or something.
But he certainly wasn't in his late teens, early 20s. I mean, the voice actor did a great job,
mm-hmm.
but I think they should have been a younger voice actor. But that was the only part that kind of threw me off. I loved the voices in the audiobook, like even Eli.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I thought he was older. Later on, it was established that he wasn't.
I would recommend both, though. I would recommend that you read the book.
Yeah.
But I'd also
absolutely
recommend that you watch the movie, or even have the audiobook. But if the book is like there's a lot in there that you don't get in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's a very good easy read.
Mm-hmm.
You're immersed in it.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah, so
definitely.
Yeah, great book.
Awesome book.
Great
Loved
movie.
It.
Great adaptation.
Adaptation. Great adaptation.
Yeah.
Highly recommend this book and highly recommend the movie. 5 stars for both. If you have read the book, leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought. If you read the book and watched the movie, what did you think of the adaptation? If you only watched the movie, did you know it was a book? Like, there's some movies that they make, or TV shows or whatever, I'm finding out, wait, that was a book?
I am a person who, I'm not what do they call them?
I don't know where she's going
chick
with this.
flick. You know, I'm not the chick flick kind of person.
No.
I like my disaster movies, I like my action movies, I like anything with superheroes, you know.
Yeah. You try and get her to watch a rom-com and it's like...
My whole point in this twisty-turny conversation that I've been getting in is this. Yes, there is a little bit of romance in it. There's a love that grows or whatever, but there's
some loves that were lost.
There's just, I'm very much about the characters, you know. So I think that, you know, a lot of people would enjoy this. And it's not a sappy love.
Romance
thing.
isn't the centerpiece of the book.
No.
Camera basically just told me to shut up. Was there anything else you wanted to say about Guernsey or its inhabitants? Oh, well, hello, little man. 2 little men. Hello. Hey, baby. Come here. Oh.
Puppy and a kitty just walked in.
Oh. My boy. How are you?
So, yeah, I recommend this book. And you know what? If you're looking for something that may give you a little bit of hope, a little bit of, you know, just seeing that we can share tragedy, and we can learn from it, we can grow, and there is life after.
Yep.
That's, I guess that's all I have to say. Goodbye, Mikey.
Alright, see you guys later.
Yeah.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. And I can't wait to see you guys again next week. Or actually, I'm in the process of doing a vlog, so I'll see you guys probably in the next few minutes. Oh, buddy. Hi. How are you?
You are my one